Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're solving Leetcode problem 605 can't place flowers. This is marked as easy, but again, I don't pay attention to this because sometimes some questions are very difficult and marked as easy, but however I do think this is an easier problem. Feel free to pause the video and read through the question or go to the link in the description to see the actual Leetcode question. However, I'm gonna explain the examples because I believe the examples are more explanatory than the actual explanation. So yeah, so given an input, okay, if we're given an input array of flowers, okay, these are just, think of this as flower positions. We want to see, so we're given this and we're also given an n, in this case equals 1, meaning can we place one flower somewhere in this array such that no two flowers are next to each other? And the answer is yes, because we can place this flower, okay, we can place him right here. If we do plant the flower right here, obviously no two flowers are next to each other because there's a 0 in between. Okay, in the second example, given an array, okay, this is example 2, given an array 1 0 0 0 1, same array, can we place two flowers such that no one is next to each other? And the answer is no, not really, because we can place the first flower here, okay, yeah, we're fine, no one is next to each other, but where do we place, so we'll make this guy 1, so where do we place the other one? We can't place him here because they're going to be adjacent. We can't place him here, that's going to be adjacent, so in this case we return false. So without further ado, let's get our keyboard to code pad and get our hands dirty coding. So again, whenever I see a problem like this, I like to think of hash maps kind of, but hash maps wouldn't work in this case. I just like to think through the problem. Okay, so what do I want to do? I want to create a count, okay, just to keep track of how many flowers I'm placing. So I'm going to say count. As always, we use Python the code because it's the best language. So count equals to 0, okay? This is going to keep track of the flowers as I place them in this flower bed list. Okay, so once we have this, so now I want to say if n equals 0, meaning if they say place 0 flowers, if they say place 0 flowers, return true, because obviously, of course, we can place 0 flowers in any kind of flower bed arrangement they give us. Okay, so that's easy. So next we want to loop through each of the flowers in this flower bed list and see who is where. Okay, I'm gonna do this using something we call a function called enumerate, a method. It comes out of the box with Python. So for I, which is going to be the index of each item in here, and the actual item again, which is going to be ones and zeros, in, I hope I spelled this correctly, but spelling is not my biggest strength. Why? But okay, so what this enumerate does is it's going to give us two values. It's going to loop through this list or whatever we pass in here and give us two values, where one is the index and the item is the actual value. So in this list that we're going through, the first example is going to give us 1 and 0 in the first loop around. The second loop around is going to give us 1 and 0. And the third loop around is going to give us 2 and 0, 3 and 0, 4 and 1 in place of I and item as a tuple. And once we have this, since we always want to check for each guy as we go through this, we want to check, hey, who is to my left and who is to my right. Depending on who is to my left and who is to my right, you can decide if you're going to place. For instance, if you come here and this guy is a 0, you look to your left, you see it's a 0, you look to your right, you see it's a 0. Obviously, you can place a flower here because he's surrounded by zeros. So that's pretty much what we're trying to do in code. So I'm going to create two variables, L and R, for left and right, and it's just going to be simply equal to our index. So L is going to be our index minus 1, R is going to be our index plus 1. Again, like I explained, we're looking to the left and to the right to see what's on this guy, if we can plant on this place or not. So now our if check. If flower bed, okay, if the item in this index, to be honest, we could actually just have used the word item. We could have used it directly. But anyways, if flower bed of I equals 0, okay, if this guy is equal to 0, what do I want to do? Okay, we want a second check. Okay, if I equals 0, or okay, so we want to check, is he the first element? Because obviously if he's the first element, we can't check to the left because there's nothing to the left. We also want to check if it's the last element, because obviously we can't check to the right because there's nothing to the right. We're going to go out of bounds, which we have to check. Okay, so if I equals 0, which is the first element of flower bed, again, I like to copy and paste when I code just to avoid some of these issues. Flower bed equal flower bed of L, so we're checking to the left now. If it's 0, or only one of these has to be correct. Flower bed of L equals 0 again, and let me give us some more space to code. If I equal length of the array, again we're checking the right side just to make sure he doesn't go out of bound on the right side. Or again, we have to do this -1, okay, because for an array like this, the length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5, but however, the index is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, stops at 4. So that's why we do the -1. Okay. Make sure we're inbounds at the right side, or flower bed of R equals 0. Let's be sure to make this R. Okay. If this is what happens, we want to increment count. Okay, then we want to say flower bed of I, if this is the case. Now we've incremented count, we want to go ahead and plant here. So we change it from a 0 to a 1. Okay, so now if count is greater than or equal to n. Okay, so we're just keeping track of n. Once we get to the n, the number we need to plant, once we get to him, that's it. We just break the code and go ahead and return true. However, if we completely traverse through this for loop and we didn't get up to n, then we return false. Okay, I believe this is correct. Let's go ahead and submit it. Okay, so we're faster than 69% of people. 69. I like that. Anyways, but as far as memory, we're not as good. Okay, but again, I'll take this, I can complain. However, I realized we never used this item variable, so I think I'm wasting my time by creating him, so I can actually change this code where I don't use them. So take out enumerate, take out. Okay, so now for I in flower bed, I think this should work. I think this might actually be faster than the previous way. So let's check and see. It says wrong answer. So I guess we need to keep track of the item somehow. Oh, so I guess I don't know what I broke, but I'm just gonna put that sucker back. Okay. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna call it a day. So as always, let's take the code and step through it and see what happens. So again, I just copied and pasted the function we just wrote exactly. However, I also created a driver code, okay, where I just initialized it with the first example in Leetcode. Said we want to plant only 1. Again, since we want to plant 1, we expect true in this case because we can plant him right here. Even 2 we expect true actually. So, and then actually I'm gonna save 1 so it's faster. And then we want to call the function. So let's go ahead and step through the code and see what's going on. I'm gonna go ahead and increase the size so we can see better. Okay, good. So 23 steps, not bad. Okay, so right now we've called the function. Okay, this is the scope of the function and this is the global scope. Okay, n equals 1 like we defined, we call the function. Keep in mind that red is the next item that's going to be executed, while green is the current item executed. So okay, say count equals 0. Now we check if n equals 0. In this case, n is not equal to 0, so we're just going to skip n equals 1 as we can see here. We're just going to skip it. We've also initialized that flower bed, which was given as part of the problem. Okay, next we'll skip it. So now we're going to iterate. Okay, so I is going to be 0 since we're going through this flower bed, and item is going to be 1 again as we can see. So we're going to create our L and R variables, which is, so in this case L is going to be the right of 0, which is going to be -1, and R is going to be 1. Yep, like I said, L and R. So now we're going to check this loop and increment count accordingly. So I'm just going to skip through them real quick. So we're just doing the if checks, going through the loop. Okay, so once you go through the if check, increment count. So right now, where's count? Count is 1, right? Because we've gone through it, the loop. So now, if count is greater than or equal to n, so once it executes this, it should obviously return true because count. Once we count it through this, is what we want. So boom, we have it. We printed that out true. That's it for the video, guys. Hope it was helpful. I'll see you in the next one.